Hello and welcome, automotive leaders, to our Winning Cultures webcast. I'm Sean Kelly, the Car Biz Coach. Today, we fly to the West Coast to see what the dealers are experiencing in a market that has really unique circumstances all into itself. Gas prices are insane in Los Angeles, with Beverly Hills gas stations charging $8 plus per gallon. Wow, is that the case?
Yeah, it is. It is the case. It's anywhere from high $5 to all the way up to $8 a gallon right now.
So commuters are they travel further in Los Angeles area than anywhere else nationally. And our guest today is Mr. Brad Mugg of Honda of downtown Los Angeles. Brad, thanks so much for jumping on.
Happy to be joining you.
Fantastic. So Brad, they often say hindsight is foresight. That happens too late. No one could have seen the COVID pandemic coming. LA had some of the strictest rules and regs in effect. How did you handle the pandemic from an operations and personnel perspective, and how did it change the way you did business?
Well, it's a good question. It definitely changed the way we do business in a big way. But we got our way through it, and it's as you know, the business right now is fantastic. Inventories are low, and it's actually been a wonderful run for us. But differently, through the pandemic, we were shut down, for a while. And I've been here for right at a year. Was actually in a Honda store in Oregon for a couple of years, and then a Honda store here in California for 15. So I've been in the market for a long time. But yeah, it's definitely different for sure. I'd say the biggest thing is with taking care of the guests. Personnel was probably the biggest challenge, keeping enough staff on board and building that to the right level. But we're pretty feel like we're past it, and things are really looking good, and we're staffing up, and things are going great.
That's fantastic. We've interviewed dealers. When we're talking about this for this particular series, we've interviewed dealers that have, had literally shut down their entire operation for several months. We've interviewed dealers that kept everything open. Both sides. There were struggles, and challenges with both sides. What approach did you take? Did you shut everything down, keep everything open, or something in between? And how did it work out?
There was a few days it was shut down completely, but in the most parts, we kept it open with lighter staff through the pandemic, and then as business got better and better, we just added staff, and we've been fortunate. We've actually done a decent job of getting staffed up here.
That's great. It's great, because I know a lot of dealers are challenged in staffing, especially in the service department. I was curious. I think a lot of dealers learned and experienced that you can have a very successful operation with a core team of A players. Which is great for business. It's great for the customer, I think, and great for the business. Obviously, payroll expense and things like that. What did you learn from it? Do you believe that? Do you believe that it's possible to did you change your perspective around staffing levels as a result of the pandemic?
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely, I'd say we have a lot more people getting a lot more done with less personnel. So yeah, I think you definitely, if you're running, we run lean, we definitely run lean, and it definitely does help the bottom line, and it helps the staff too. Everyone's making a good living with less people. So it's definitely working.
Man, I've found that in my business too. It's like, if you've got people that are on board, giving it 110% every day, really care about their career, they really stand out. And really, it's like almost like anything else might be fluff, or might even, sometimes I think it's like the wrong people on the bus can even slow it down to the point where they slow your success. So I appreciate that. That's the one thing that's been uniform, no matter what the dealership's decisions have been. It's like the core people have really stood out in this and helped the dealers thrive, and without super high staff levels. But it's great you're refilling your staff right now. What strategies have you put in place to make sure you're bringing, as you rebuild your team levels, you're bringing in the right people?
It's all about the culture. And I'm big on culture. I'm big on teamwork. I'm big on everyone being involved. I'm really big on just teamwork and helping one another, departments helping departments. And having big meetings and thanking everyone and showing everyone how much we care about them. You walk in this store and it feels different than most stores you walk in. I have all kinds of vendors that come in, friends that come in, goes, wow, what's going on here? And we've built it to where our staff, everybody wants to be a part of the team, So I would say the biggest thing, it's been the most fun year I've had in my entire life, getting the store to where it's at today. When we got here, the store was in 35th position in the country, and we're up to 8th right now. And everyone's pulling on the rope. Yeah, thanks. Everyone's pulling on the rope same direction, and it's just been a blast, and everyone's having fun too. And that's what it's all about. So we've built a pretty special place here, and we did it slowly over about a year's time.
And for those of you guys that don't know, most of our Car Motivators followers are going to know this, but to go from 35th to 8th, I mean, that's got to be a pretty big swing in volume and things like. Can I ask you what did to go from 35th to 8th? How much of an increase did you need to see?
About 200 car increase per month. And that 200 though includes new and used, because fortunately we've been able to double the used car performance here. But obviously new cars are somewhat regulated to what you can get from the manufacturer. So you're only going to get what you're going to get. You're going to sell everything you get. So just keep that turn rate going until we earn more cars, and then gradually build that up.
So it's really focusing on that OEM partnership, and regardless of what you're receiving vehicle wise, like you're pumping out the sales, you're pumping out and you're trying to purposely sell new. That man, and hats off to you. I know. So at my store, I had my own Hyundai store. We were number one in the St. Louis district for a long time, and we were able to go to number one in the region. That was about a 50 car month increase, and I know how much effort that took and the changes we had to make in order to achieve that. I mean, 200 car month increase is no joke. Could you share some of your top 3 tips on how you accomplish that? I mean, I'd love to learn. I know the Car Motivators viewers would love to learn. Everyone's like, man, I get more profit now, but volume is so tough. So how did you go about doing that?
Well, it's all about the people. It's all about belief. It's all about everyone knowing where we're at and where we're going. It's talking about it all the time. It's making sure that, your entire team is on board, and literally it's positive meetings all the time. And it's just it's culture. It comes down to culture. I can't say it any better than that. It really comes down to having a good culture to where you can't wait to get here and you never want to leave, and that's what we try to build.
I love what you're talking about, Mr. Mugg. The vision. So you've got a clear vision. I remember ours was like 2,000 or bust. Like that was it. And then we put it everywhere. And every meeting was, how are we going to get those extra 50 units to hit that goal? And it was alignment. It was getting the team on board. Like what's in it for them? And okay, if all you guys can help us achieve this, we're going to add another manager and another finance manager. And that means, 7 people are going to move up under, right? So that kind of created that excitement. And then we had the clarity with like, here's what we're trying to do and here's why it's important. And ultimately, I also, committed to my team. I was like, I want every one of the managers at all 9 stores to come from this deal, from our rooftop, so I'm going to develop you guys, so that got a lot of buy-in. Can I ask you, like, how you said positive meetings, and I really respect that. There's so many salespeople, and we do this cultural assessment where we find out, some cracks and foundations. One of the most common challenges is, we have negative meetings. The managers beat us down. We're dragging our feet and hanging our heads walking out of the meeting room. Yeah. So what else do you do to build your culture and create, and who's responsible for making that vision? Tell us how those puzzle pieces, give us some of the puzzle pieces to that.
Well, in our department meeting, we're always reading a book together, and it's always about, getting better, being better human beings. And so we talk it up every single department meeting, every single week. We talk about, how important our positive attitude is and how we can help others. Having a negative meeting, I never, ever, ever have negative meetings, ever. I mean, if someone's having a negative meeting, it's usually about one person who did something wrong the day before, and they want to share it with the entire staff, and we don't do that. If you have to coach someone, it's one-on-one, right? You sit down, you go over and say, hey, let's make sure this doesn't happen again. Let's rock and roll. Let's go forward.